now tuned into the greatest.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Sage Be Me podcast. I will be your host for today's Sage Be Me, and damn, all I can say is I've missed talking to you guys. It's been how long? Like a week. Anyways, let's get on to the business of today. So today we'll be talking about why do some people suffer more than others. I liked how he started this chapter. He started it by asking questions like, why didn't the universe create anyone equal? Why are some disabled and others able-bodied? Why are some poor and others are rich? If there's a God, why didn't he create everyone equally? Why couldn't everyone carry positive karma? Why couldn't everyone have the same software? What is the point of this terrible inequality? That's how he started the chapter, and it was like, whoa. I've asked myself these questions a couple of times. Anyways, he goes ahead and starts explaining two things. What's suffering and what's pain. So he starts off with pain. And actually he starts off with suffering, yeah? He says that human suffering is not a physical handicap. And human suffering is not poverty. The cause of human suffering is the human himself. Like, if I am suffering, I am the cause of my suffering. So he goes ahead and says that pain is physical. Pain is the body reacting to something from the outside, like when you hit your foot, when something falls on you, when you get slapped, there's pain. It tells you this happened. And pain is useful because if you hit your head, like last week, the end of the week, I was kicking rocks while wearing my Crocs. Like I kicked like 10 rocks and my big foot felt like it was swelling up the way Tom and Jerry's thumb goes full. Anyways, I felt that pain because I kept on hitting rocks, but I'm not suffering me hitting rocks. Let's go and see what he said suffering was. Because he said pain is useful because you can't choose if you'll feel pain or not. Because if I kick the stone man, I will feel the pain whether I want it or not, unless my leg is amputated. But he says you can choose to suffer or not to suffer. So he goes ahead and gives us different examples of someone living in a mansion and he suffers. Someone living in a one-bedroom house, he suffers. It goes ahead and says that someone who has 3 cars suffers. Someone who has one car, he suffers. Someone who goes on vacation abroad suffers. Someone who doesn't suffers. As in, there's a cycle of suffering that everyone undergoes, and this causes misery, and it's all up in their head because of comparison. I'm going abroad. I don't know the abroad one, how he suffers, but this guy who doesn't go abroad for vacation is suffering because he's seeing someone else going for vacation abroad and he's jealous. Or you get what I'm trying to say, yeah? So he says that it's not the physical situation that causes misery. It is the way someone reacts to it. he says that karma is not what is happening to you. Your karma is the way you respond to what's happening to you. Because a human being is capable of suffering anything. Because if you went ahead and said someone has no children suffers, someone who has children suffers, as in basically anything, like you can suffer any event. They give an example of the Hindu and Buddhist gods. They had like 4 hands, yeah. So if it was a human being born with 4 hands, he will suffer this a lot because he will think of himself as a freak instead of as a god. And I was like, damn, that's right. So your suffering is because of the way you make the way you made yourself, yeah. If you made yourself this way, you'll suffer that way. If you made yourself this other way, you'll suffer this way. And the way you made yourself, that's what you need to look at. Then he goes ahead and asks, what about fate and fortune? What about free will and destiny? So this is where he went to his favorite character, Shankar Pillai. So Shankar Pillai, as in the way you meet up with all college friends and everything. So a hot debate came up where they were talking about is it the chicken and the egg? It's like I ask you. This is what I wanted to ask. Between the orange fruit and the orange color, which came first? So this was about the chicken and the egg. Between the chicken and the egg, which came first? Then people are debating. As you can see, this is completely useless to debate over this because you'll never know. No one knows if the chicken came first or the egg came first. So Shankar Pillai, he was just sitting over there munching his food like nobody's business while people were discussing. Then people saw him that he's not participating. I think he felt like it was a useless debate or something. I don't know. So he ended up asking him, "Aren't you interested in this serious debate? Aren't you serious? Aren't you interested in this serious debate?" So Shankar Pillai was like, "Which came first? The one you ordered first that will come first. Like if you're in a restaurant and you order an egg, then later order a chicken, it'll come in that order. If you're in a restaurant, then you order chicken, then later you order an egg. That's how they'll come." I felt this was a bit witty. Anyways, this was like, don't waste your time trying to figure out something that you won't be able to figure it out. Like, do you really want to spend the rest of your life discussing free will and destiny? Like, you're going to spend all the time doing that? So why did he say, okay, no, not really why did he say, he then goes ahead and says, your life is your karma. What does that mean? How much karma you can take into your hands depend on how much of you has become conscious. How conscious are you? That's the amount of karma you can take. You have master over physical body, 15 to 20% of your karma, you will have control over your life and destiny. If you have master over your physical processes, that's about 50 to 60% of your life you have in your own hands. And if you have mastery over your life energies, you'll have 100% control over your life and destiny. Then he goes ahead and says that if you plant a mango seed, you can't expect coconut to grow out of them. It'll be not rational, it'll be absurd. But he says that you can control the quality of mangoes coming from that mango tree. You can control how long the mango tree will yield, and you can also control the factors of the characteristics of the mangoes in the mango tree. Yeah? But he goes ahead and says that if you dig deep enough into life, you can change the nature of the seed. But that's something deep, a yogic level of accomplishment that's beyond the scope of this book. As in, you can change the mango seed into an apple fruit, but that's too deep that he's not going to touch in this book. So I was like, okay, that's interesting on its own. So the next place is when he was saying, what most people call luck is your ability to be at the right place at the right time. That's just luck. But you're not conscious enough to dictate like what kind of circumstances you will attract to your life. You get? So what you have to focus on at the moment is how you react to what happens to you. Maybe you win a lottery ticket, but still you live unhappy and decided. A poor man might be ecstatic if he wins $1 million, but a rich man might have more than that in his bank account and still be unhappy. So luck alone will not determine your happiness. Being at the right place at the right time will not determine your happiness. Karma is usually used rudimentally to suggest that you did something bad and so bad things will happen to you. So if someone comes and complains to you that he has heart clogged up, does he mean that he committed something devious in the past? Certainly not. Maybe it could be that he drank alcohol, he didn't take care of his body, blah blah blah. You get what I mean. So karma is not necessarily that you did a bad deed. That's why it's coming back to you. So you won't suffer because you did a bad deed. Fine, you did a bad deed. You stole, you coveted someone's property. Yeah. You're the one who will choose to suffer the coveting, because you can look at Jay-Z. Used to be a drug dealer. He stopped after his business got good. He started doing legit businesses. Do you think that he's suffering right now that he was a drug peddler? I think he's even proud that he peddled them drugs, man. So he says that he knew someone who had an extra finger and he kept putting the finger inside his hands. Why did he put in his pocket, sorry. Why did he keep putting the finger inside his pockets? Simply because it felt he was weird. Having 11 fingers and everyone has 10. As in, the finger wasn't bad. It was okay. It was doing perfectly like every other one's finger, but he felt quote unquote weird, uncomfortable. So he ended up creating his own suffering, comparing himself with everyone else who has 10 fingers, the normal people, I quote. So he goes ahead and tells us about a police station in India. It's situated somewhere in a place where they are not economically, how should I say this? They are economically impoverished, yeah. So here, back like sijui, he said like I don't know, 25 years ago. So 25 years ago, the station had like 20 policemen, but currently it has like 15, and you'll find about 4 of them have gone for leave. During the daytime, they're like 7. During the nighttime, 4 or 5 are four, I think, are in night patrol. So this amount of people, they're managing like millions of guys, and it's just wow. So these few police officers, yeah, they're the ones taking care of the whole population. Like if there's a problem, they'll have to handle it. So most of the time, they usually call the station, or one officer rides his bike, goes ahead to the house, and gets a statement. And in this neighborhood where there is high poverty, you'd expect high crime, but there's no high crime because these people know that this is their life situation. This is how they are, and there's no crime around that area. And these people, they are not suffering because they're poor. He's not trying to romanticize poverty, but one could argue that this kind of thinking could lead to fatalism, passivity, as in you're just passive in your life. It is important for people to feel that if their poverty is their own making, so that they can turn it around. If you don't feel that poverty is your own making, then you won't take any charge, you won't change it. So here's where he goes and says, karma means you can change your life destiny and not be ruled by it. At the same time, there is something wonderful about this ability to create joy in all kinds of circumstances. Yeah, you might be poor and you might not suffer. So if you're able to create joy in any kind of circumstances, then you will not suffer anything. You will not suffer poverty, you won't suffer richness, but because you know how to create joy at the situation that you are in your life. Because you'll always have the ingredients to suffer. Yesterday, this one did that to me. The other week, I was stolen from. And you can be like, oh, this person did this person did that. We had lost someone, this, that. So you can always suffer at any time about anything. Suffering is always fresh, but you can be aware of this and choose not to suffer. That's how you end your suffering. It's like karma is the seed. What you're going to make out of this seed is entirely up to you. Then he says, if I am given packets of sorted seeds and I throw them to my garden, perhaps all of them will sprout. Some mango seeds will yield sweet fruits, but there may be some bitter seeds too. The parathium grass may be unwelcome weed, and yet I still have a choice to pull it out. That's how food is grown every day. a large part of agriculture is just weeding. That's true. If you keep weeding, you will have a garden. If you sit back defeated, you will have a patch of weeds. Well, of course, some have learned to enjoy the weeds too. So the same goes for your life. You have your seed karma, but you also have your weeding karma. This is where evolution comes in. If you decide not to perform your weeding karma, your life will just be an overgrown wilderness. If you choose to perform these simple functions, your life can yield an increase, rich harvest. So that's the reason why people suffer, because they don't expect, or they do expect the life to just go on like nobody's business, like they shouldn't suffer, life should be sure. And that's how people end up suffering. You suffer because of yourself, the person who you made you to be. You suffer yesterday, you suffer tomorrow, you suffer your imagination, you suffer something that's not yet happened or might not even happen. There's nothing that you can't suffer. You're just suffering anything and everything, and that's hectic for me, because I can only imagine suffering all the time. There's a week that I suffered like nobody's business, and it was my own doing. Just what I was thinking that made me suffer a lot. So after hearing this, you just take the day to day and make it a point upon yourself. Take it upon yourself. Don't suffer anything. Like, fine, you don't have money to get yourself this, or you're in debt. So how are you going to get out of that? See, you have to find ways to make money, because money won't just fall from the trees. If you've ever seen a money tree, since you're born here, just go to that money tree and pluck the cash out of it. Trust me, if you have ever seen a money tree, go pluck money out of it. That's the best way to change your life situation. Anyways, that's all for today, folks, and I'm not doing this to inspire you. Like I always say, I don't do this to inspire you. I do this so that you can be able to change your life for the better of you. So go out there today and do something about it. Do something about your life. Control your life. Control your energy. Because if you don't control your reactions to what's happening, you'll get controlled, or who will control you. Anyways, that's all for today, folks. Follow me on my socials at sage_b_ muchachos on Instagram, sage_b_ actually it's sage_b me on Twitter, and I'll see you in the next episode.